Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. As promised, we are going to be speaking, getting some updates on Hurricane Beryl. We're doing so with a meteorologist from the TNT Met Service, Gary Anthony Benjamin. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Good morning to you, DK, and all your co-hosts and viewers and listeners. A pleasant morning.
Thank you so much. Now, Ayanka and I are very curious as to what the evening has been like for you in terms of the work taking place.
It has been very busy, not for me alone or not for me personally, but all of the personnel in the Met Service, the Met Office, from the director comes straight down to everyone, has been working assiduously to bring information. And you would have seen the results throughout that we have been updating you from time to time, almost every 3 hours or so, or as things break. And therefore, we would have, I would like to, if I can do so myself, compliment my co-workers, that in the job that they've been doing, because I know the work as it goes on behind the scenes.
And even before I let Ayanka take the next question, I want to just have you make that distinction once more, please, because I saw a disclaimer saying in terms of the person that you are supposed to be checking for information. Just go over that again, please, because that would have come out of the Met Service in terms of where you're getting information from. Checkers.
Okay, the Met Service, of course, is the official body for the information in Trinidad and Tobago, are sanctioned under the broad umbrella of the World Meteorological Organization standards, and all of us in the region under WMO would operate according to certain standards. We have accountability and responsibility, and you would notice anytime we go wrong, because we are not perfect, anytime we go slightly wrong, the people harshly hold us to account, and anybody else could go wrong, but they would come back. So that in itself is that those out there notice that the Met Office is the place for the official information. And as far as the country is concerned, the disaster management units and those who have to respond to these kind of outputs, they would be looking for it from the Met Service before anything takes place officially.
Thank you very much, Gary. And as you continue to give us information we can use, you guys have done an exceptional job of keeping us abreast as to how to prepare for the different parts of the category or the different levels of impact that each island will see. So before we continue the conversation, can we reiterate, first of all, for those in Tobago who are under the hurricane warning level red, what exactly does that mean and how should that be prepared for? And then, of course, the latter Trinidad, rather, in terms of the tropical storm warning, making the distinction between the two, please.
But to make it very simple, because sometimes the intricate details tends to confuse people a bit, but to make it very simple, the red means that you are high or extreme risk coming out of the system that might be approaching or that might be occurring at the time. So you are high risk for life and property, and therefore you must find a safe shelter if you have not done so as yet. You must, if you have not finished preparations, you must hurry to finish those preparations, to batten down, to either evacuate to a safe place or to stay shelter in place. So it means you are at a very high risk, and there's a very sure possibility that whatever event is occurring would tend to happen within the near future. So and the orange level really means high risk, and at this time, although there is some concern for life and property, but you still have to be making preparations at that time. So the orange level, if you have not had preparations as yet, to continue to finish your preparations, and of course, always keep abreast of what is going on as far as the official information is concerned.
To be a little more specific on those preparations, what should that look like for each of us? We are familiar with the messages, but I just want to make sure we drive it home this morning.
Well, when you're looking at the red level, you should be taking instructions, if you like, from the authorities that if you need to evacuate or if they find that it's safe for you, it is important that you evacuate for your safety. You need to be taking instructions from the authorities. You need to, of course, be ramp up your behavior pattern, so to speak, as far as battening down the hatches, as far as looking to evacuate if you are not in a safe place. And by the time we get to red, because we are progressing, by the time we get to red, a lot of these things should already have been done. We should have already had the grab and go bags in case of evacuation, the medication and important documents in sealed containers or bags, so that in case of flooding or anything like that, you should have already been cleaning your drains and cutting the trees and brushes around. In fact, these preparations should have been done from the beginning of the rainy season and the hurricane season, especially this year when we have been talking about a greater potential for greater development as far as cyclones are concerned. So that especially this year, you should have been far ahead in those preparations, so that when the orange level or the red level comes, you would already be way forward and be able to move as quickly as possible into safety.
Okay.
Now, you
Thank
talk
you very
about
much, Gary.
being ready and this happening so early in the season, Mr. Benjamin. Mr. Big yesterday was talking about the possibility for having another category in terms of Beryl is at category 4 right now. Give us some of the distinctions between the categories, thank you, in terms of like 4 to 5, because Mr. Big was actually talking about going in, well, increasing that consideration.
Well, the Saffir-Simpson scale would have been developed by one called, of course, Mr. Saffir-Simpson, and he would have given 5 categories. The scale initially was about the destructive power of the wind, so that there would be, if you're in the category 1, they would have been saying the type of power it would have, how it would damage buildings, if it would bend coconut trees, if it would strip the trees, and you would see that kind of progression as far as the destructive power of the wind is concerned. But the Saffir-Simpson scale has been out for a little while now, and we are seeing climate change, and meteorologists all over the world are looking at the climate change and the effects of it. So the consideration is now not just the destructive power of the wind, but we are seeing that the possibility of even stronger hurricanes. And of course, it goes without saying, the stronger the hurricane, the more destructive the winds are. Mm-hmm. So the people concerned are saying, and people have been talking about it for a little while now, they are saying, well, why not have another category so as to focus your mind a little bit more to say how dangerous the hurricane can become.
Well, I want to jump back into the conversation now, because we completely understand the warnings, the categories, and those things. Tell us what we're looking at now, because we amongst ourselves are talking about how still it is, how quiet it is here in Trinidad. Are we looking at the calm before the storm? What is Beryl doing right now?
Well, the eye of Beryl and the hurricane force winds are just have been expanded just a little bit, and they're very close to the northeast of Tobago. Now, last night, Beryl went through what is called the eye wall replacement. So, as the thunderstorms develop and rain out around the eye wall, there's eye wall replacement. So, the strengthening would have been weakened a little bit and stabilized. But in building back, we are finding that the area of the hurricane force winds, the core area, has just increased just a little bit. And also, we are having these feeder bands coming in and starting to enter from the north, at least as it approaches Trinidad from the north. And Beryl is moving basically to the west right now, and very close to Tobago, and especially in the northeastern areas of Tobago. So we are not yet out of the woods, because as far as cyclones are concerned, we have this wobble, what is called a tropoidal motion. So that while we are saying it is going west or northwest, that is an average movement, and it sometimes moves west and it sometimes moves a little northwest. The average movement right now is about 280 degrees. So we are expecting that little drift northward on average, but we are seeing sometimes a straight heading towards the west, which is bringing it very close to Tobago. So we are not out of the woods yet. We still have Tobago under the red because there's a high chance that they may enter hurricane force winds, and also Trinidad is under the yellow because there's a high chance, especially in the northern areas, and both of them are warnings, especially the northern areas, that Trinidad might experience storm force winds and sometimes strong downdrafts. Right now, before we came on, I was seeing on the satellite picture a feeder band coming from the north into North Trinidad. So you may not see the weather coming from the regular places. You may see it sometimes coming from the north for Trinidad, and as it moves on, it may start to come from the west, and then from the southwest by south and southeast by tomorrow. So the wind will be changing as it moves across towards the west about 280 degrees. It has slowed down just a little bit, but it could speed up again as the day progresses. So we are not yet out of the woods, even though we're not seeing the extent of weather. But so we still have to keep a strong watch on what is happening.
Gary, what is happening to our cousins up the islands, though? Because we know that other islands are on different types of alert as well. Anything you can tell us about the islands of Barbados or others?
The core center of the system is headed for between Grenada, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines, where we may expect, and the forecast hasn't changed over the last few hours, so we may expect the brunt of the system to be passing that way, just a few miles south of Barbados. Barbados could also get some weather because they are to the north of us, and the stronger winds in the system is usually to the forward right-hand corner, which because it is moving west, that is to the north of the system at this time.
Thank you, Gary.
All right, so we want to thank you so much, Mr. Benjamin. And even before we wrap, do you have any timelines? Because it's one thing to say, okay, well, we expect and it's going this way, but then when you factor in things like the wobble and other pieces of terminology that you're saying in terms of phenomena with the system, what kind of timelines should we be looking at, expecting, hoping, having our fingers crossed for today?
As we speak, it is very close to Tobago. The eye itself is very close to the northeast of Tobago, and the possibility still exists. And we are looking, we have the warnings, the different color warnings, hurricane warning and tropical storm warning for Tobago and Trinidad respectively. We have them on in the first instance till about noon time. So there may be some change by then, but as we speak, it is very close or too close for comfort to Tobago at this time. So we have to, as far as the center of the hurricane is concerned, so we have to keep prepared, keep an eye out, and it is ongoing at present time.
All right, so we want to thank you so much, Mr. Benjamin. Gary Anthony Benjamin, meteorologist at the Met Service, reminding you they are on Facebook, Instagram. You can also check their website at www.metoffice.gov.tt. Stay with us. The Now Morning Show returns after this.